Dearly beloved in Christ, peace and joy. I welcome all of you once again to Father January YouTube channel, and I'm happy to come your way with another episode of Emotions Under Control. Remember, control the emotion, shape the outcome. That is why we are here with this new series, Emotions Under Control. If you watch the first series or the first episode of this new series, we looked at emotional management, so managing our emotions. There we saw what emotions are: a very complex physiological or psychological response to stimuli. We looked at all these, so you can go watch the previous video, then you can learn all these ones from there. We also looked at what it means to manage our emotions. Three things: to be aware, to regulate, and then to control, to direct the emotion to align with your values. These are the three things that we looked at managing our emotion. And we concluded by saying that we need to track, we need to write what emotions we feel. And so I don't know how many of you have done that, but I want to believe that many of us have done that so that we would be aware of the emotions that erupt in us, the emotions that are living in us. We said these are internal because we cannot control the situations outside of us. We do not have that power, but we have what it takes, the capability to control what is happening within us, thereby controlling or managing our emotions. In this episode, we are going to look at emotional triggers. Emotional triggers. I'm sure you have heard the saying that a hungry man is an angry man. Now, this saying seems to be true in the life of everybody, that a hungry person is a very angry person. Usually, when people are hungry, it is very easy for such people to get angry. When people are hungry, they find it very difficult to smile, to laugh, to be cheerful. But the little thing can spark anger in them. And this is exactly what we are talking about. Emotional triggers. The things that set you up emotionally. The things that flame up emotions within you. The things that erupt emotions within you. These are called triggers. Now, many of these things can be grouped into three things. Three things can trigger our emotions, can set us up emotionally. Three things. One, we want to look at situations. Certain situations can trigger our emotions. For example, you are in a traffic situation. No car is moving. Everybody is at a standstill. It is very easy for you to get angry. It is very easy for you to use bad words. It's very easy in that situation, to express an emotion that perhaps you may not be prepared to express. But the situation can bring out such emotion. For example, you find yourself in a very joyful situation where people are singing and dancing. Perhaps you've gone to church and they are singing joyful songs. That situation can bring up in you your joyful mood. Certain situation can also bring up anxiety in you. For example, perhaps your boss, criticize your work. You can become very anxious. Why? Because you do not want to disrespect authority or fail. So because of that, it is very easy for us to express the emotion of anxiety. So one, the situation is a trigger. Every situation is capable of triggering an emotion within us. Any of the emotion, the situation. And so we need to pay attention to the situation. So first we are looking at the triggers. What are the triggers and what causes the triggers? One, the situation. Number two, people can also trigger certain emotion within us. When I say people, what do I mean? People can be anybody. Can be your pastor, can be your friend, can be your brother, can be your sister, can be anybody, your enemy, can be your loved one, your boyfriend or your girlfriend, your husband, your wife. It can be anybody. People or persons can trigger emotions within us. So that, an example, like you have your boyfriend. Usually your boyfriend will be a figure that makes you happy. So you see your boyfriend and you are so excited for no reason. Just the sight of your boyfriend, such a person can make you happy. Or your boyfriend brings you a gift of flowers or a beautiful gift, or your boyfriend takes you to a place, or the presence of you and your boyfriend or your girlfriend walking together, or your best friend. That person can trigger an emotion in you. The same way, if you have someone as an enemy, that enemy, by citing that person alone, can trigger sadness or anger within you. And so people can trigger emotions. For some people, the presence of police officers can trigger an emotion. Any emotion you can think of. For some people, the presence of doctors or nurses can trigger an emotion. For some people, the presence of anything, name it, an insect, an animal. You see, so things like this trigger emotions within us. If you do not know and you are not aware of what your trigger is, that which triggers that particular emotion within you, then you will always be at the mercy of your emotion. So for some people, a particular guy or a particular lady or a particular woman or a particular man triggers a certain emotion in you. You need to know and be aware, so that when that person is around, then you have to find a solution. Because by staying there, that emotion will be triggered because of that person. Just the person's presence is enough to trigger that emotion. The third thing that triggers emotion in us are our thoughts. So by thought, I am thinking about thoughts in the past, what we have thought about, that which we have, remembered, which is still in our memory, okay, that we can bring back. This thought can trigger emotions with us. Present thought and sometimes some thought in the future. Now let me give you an example. So you have lost a mother, you have lost a father, you have lost someone, and the thought of these people, thinking about these people in the past or thinking about the funeral, can bring about an emotion in you. Or you had a beautiful birthday celebration in the past. So thinking about that can bring some smile or can put smiles on your face. And that is why some people, can just be there, and when they bring back this thought of the beautiful birthday celebration, the thought of the beautiful dinner they had, the thought of a beautiful time they had with a friend or a loved one, they begin to smile. And you may not know why they are smiling. Sometimes you may think they are mad. No, they are not mad. Something is triggering an emotion within them. In the same way, perhaps you are thinking about the failure of your exam. Yes, that can come back to you and bring a sorrowful emotion, trigger that out, and nobody may understand what you are going through. Or a bad experience you had with your father, or a bad experience you had with your mother in the past. Now, when these thoughts come up, they trigger emotions within us. And so it depends. So the situation, the people, and the thoughts, these are powerful triggers that set us up emotionally, and we need to be aware of these things. And so pay attention to these, so that when there are people around you who are triggering good emotion or very strong emotions in you, you have to know how to deal with it. Or there are situations that are coming up and you know that this is going to bring up this emotion in me, you have to find a solution to it. Or the thought of something that is bringing up an emotion in you, you have to know what to do. Like what I started from the beginning, a hungry man is an angry man. And so when you get hungry, you get angry, you don't allow yourself to go hungry. And so once you start feeling hunger, what you do is to eat. Else, if you allow yourself to go hungry for long, you will start misbehaving. You will get angry with everybody. You begin to shout at your wife who is preparing the food and has not finished yet. You begin to shout at your children who perhaps are not even the cause of the delay of the food. You begin to shout at even somebody who calls you on the phone, and you vet your anger on them. No. And so you need to know what is triggering the emotion, and then you find a solution to that. My dear friends, having known these triggers and the areas of these triggers, these three areas, we need to understand one thing as well. We need to take our time to look at the pattern. Look for the pattern of these triggers. So knowing the triggers is not enough. But what is the pattern? How do they come? Because these are the root cause of our emotions. And so we need to study the pattern. And that will mean that we need to be recording situations, recording incidents, and recording circumstances, recording these things to create awareness. It is only by becoming aware of what we are feeling or what we are going through that we can understand our emotions and then manage it well. And so look at the pattern. How does the pattern begin? How does it develop? And how does it end? When we get to know how it starts, how it develops, and how it ends, then in the next instance or in the next situation, when that is coming up, you will be able to control it. So study the pattern. You need to know why. You need to know what. You need to know the intensity of the emotion. How strong is that emotion? You need to know, how did I respond to that? And you need to know what should have been done, or what did I do? So my dear friends, understanding the emotion we experience is very important. So all I'm trying to say is, ask the question, why? Why am I experiencing this? Why am I having this emotion? Why? What is this that I am experiencing? This will help so much in understanding our emotion and dealing with it. And so the question why, we must go to the root cause, because it is the first step in managing our emotion. Awareness, as we have said already, it is very, very important. Now we look at perhaps how to do the journaling. If we need to keep records to be aware, what must we be looking out for? I have said this before, but now I'm going to take my time to put it up for us and make it a 7-step that we must follow in being aware of our emotional triggers. And so, dear friends, the 7 steps which I want us to look at, or the 7 things I want us to look at in being aware of our emotional triggers are these. The first thing we need to ask is, what happened? What happened? What triggered this emotion? Was it the situation? Was it a person? Or was it the thought that triggered this emotion? First and foremost, find out what was the trigger. Number 2, you want to find out, how did I feel? What did you feel? You must be able to name the emotion that you feel. Name the emotion. Give a name to that emotion. Yes, I was angry. I was sad. I was happy. I was anxious. I was depressed. I was disappointed. Name the emotion that you feel. So first, what happened? Find out what triggered that emotion. Number 2, how did you feel? Then you also want to know how strong that emotion is. So giving yourself 1 to 10, how will you rate that feeling of yours or that emotion? You want to give it 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 over 10. That is very strong. You were very happy, you're very angry, you're very excited, you're very anxious, or not too happy, not too sad, not too anxious. You need to grade that emotional trigger. Then also you want to find out, how did I respond? How did I respond? Were you quiet? Were you aggressive? Were you outgoing? Did you coil back? Did you refuse to do anything? What was your response? You need to come back to that as well to know, so what was my reaction? You need to jot it down. You need to write it down. It will help you in managing your emotion. And so, dear friends, the last point we need to consider is this. What do you think is the possible root cause of this? What is the possible root cause of what you are feeling? So let me give you an example. I present a work to my boss, and my boss looks at the report and then he criticizes the report. Then I become so anxious of the criticism of my boss. Then the question is, how did I feel after he criticized my work? And so here we will notice that the trigger is the criticism of my boss of the work. And how did that make me feel? Now that made me feel anxious. Okay, what rate will you give to that anxiety that you feel or I feel? Well, I may give it 7 over 10. 7 over 10 is more than half. It means that I was really anxious. So I was triggered by my boss criticizing my work. And 2, I felt anxious. What is the grading? 7 over 10. So what did I do when I was criticized and I felt anxious? Well, I decided to quell back, to be quiet and not to speak anymore. And the question is, what is the possible root cause of that? Well, maybe because I fear disappointing authority. So because I don't want to disappoint authority and the work has been criticized by my boss, I felt that I have disappointed the authority. And so now I am anxious. Wow, what will I do? I've disappointed the authority. Okay. And so because of that, I've decided not to talk, to be quiet. Now, we deal with this situation or managing the situation to know that if you want to please if I want to please my boss and I want to make a good presentation, then I must first and foremost avoid being criticized. So it means that I have to work hard and make sure that I don't get criticized. Good. But that would mean that more work will have to go in. And if that does not happen, there will be no trigger. But if that comes up and then I'm criticized, I must be able to accept that, the fact that yes, I am not perfect and I can make mistakes. Or 2, I am there to learn. And they always say there's more room for improvement. So if you have been criticized, it is an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity for me to grow and learn. So you don't become too anxious. You accept the correction and then you work on it and you grow. Beloved, this is how it goes. But if that is not taken, then I will be quiet and not do anything again, and there will be no growth. This is an example I'm giving, but we can have several examples. These are daily experiences that we go through, daily experiences. We need to know ourselves and understand ourselves and understand the situation in which we find ourselves every day. And so in this video today, we are looking at emotional triggers, and we have mentioned 3 things that can trigger our emotion, that can set us off emotionally. 1, the situation around us. 2, people can trigger emotions within us. And 3, our thoughts, be it thought in the past, now, or even in the future. These can trigger certain emotions within us. Now, what must we do? We must be aware. To be aware, ask the question, why am I experiencing this? What is this? What is the emotion I am going through? Name the emotion. 2, ask yourself, how do I feel? What is the emotion that I am feeling? Number 3, what grade will you give to that from 1 to 10? How will you grade that? Then, what was your reaction when it happened? Lastly, what could be the possible cause of that trigger or that reaction from me? And this is how we learn gradually to control or to manage our emotion. My dear friends, if you like this video, strike the like button. Give us your comment down there in the comment section. Give me feedback. I want to know how this presentation is going and the effect it is having on us. It is a gradual thing that we must put into practice every day. If you are new, please subscribe to Father January YouTube channel. Tell others about Father January. Join this family. We learn here. We learn to grow physically and spiritually. We help to growing our faith. That's what we are doing, and looking at emotions under control. Remember, control the emotion, shape the outcome. I'll see you again in another episode. Like my other network, my other channels, my YouTube, my Facebook, my Instagram, my Spotify, like all of them. And we shall have interesting time on those channels as well. Stay blessed, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Peace and joy.
Arise, Catholic faithful, rejoice and renew. Legacy of Hope.
Arise, Catholic faithful, rejoice and renew. My dear friends, do you know that the hope of every country, the hope of every community depends on children? Children are a gift from God. Children are signs of hope for the future. Healthy children are security that there will be continuity from one generation to another. And that is why children must be a priority in every community. And that is why the Catholic Archdiocese of Accra see it very important to give hope to sick children. Children whose parents do not have what it takes to send them to the expensive hospital to give them medical care. Such children are crying for help. Such children are in pain. Such children are crying for healing. Such children are praying to God. And thank God He has blessed you and me to have life and to have strength. The little we can do to support these children is to give them hope, to give them a place, an edifice like a hospital where they can run to for physical healing. Beloved, support the Legacy of Hope project, the pediatric childhood cancer specialist hospital being built by the Catholic Archdiocese of Accra. Your contribution will go a long way to put smiles on the faces of these children. These children who are crying and praying to God for healing. Your little contribution can give hope, not only to the church, not only to our nation, but also hope for the world. My dear friends, now our project has come up. The building, the structure is up. But we need to finish the wards. We need medical equipment. We need medicine. We need a lot of things so that the hospital can be operational. And so we call on individuals. We call on society. We call on families. We call on groups. We call on associations. We call on NGOs. Come to the aid of the Catholic Archdiocese of Accra. Help us to finish these wards of the hospital so that it can be operational to start healing the sick children, to give them good health, that they can be strong, they can be healthy to continue that which we have started. And so Let us not fold our hands and watch this project die. Let us not fold our hands or sit on the fence. Let us all come on board and give our little contribution as we can. Let us invite people who can help us see the completion of this project, the Legacy of Hope project. Beloved, if you are already a contributor, talk to other people. Tell other people about this project. If you are yet to come on board, your little contribution every month, every week, every day. If you are a new contributor, your contribution every day, every week, every month will go a long way to see the completion of this project. Let us do the little we can to save our children. Let us do the little we can to give hope to these suffering children. They need you and they need me. Let us use that which God has blessed us with to bless these children for the sake of the future of our church, for the sake of the future of our nation. Take the numbers of the Archdiocese and the project. You can donate to these bank accounts. You can contact the people in charge, the committee in charge, and then see what you can do to help in the completion of this project. May God bless you for your intention to donate. Arise, Catholic faithful, rejoice and renew.
Legacy of Hope. Arise, Catholic faithful, rejoice and renew.